Hello and welcome to the Inbetween podcast. I'm your usual host, Joe Score, and I'm joined here by Tony, Tones at RT, also
Yep.
known as having anus in his name. We should point
Yeah,
out,
famously.
also known as having Sans from Undertale in his name. Point out some
Yeah.
relevant information here.
I guess we
Mm.
should mention. Okay, I started playing Near Automata again because our good friend Scorn Retorts
Good friend of
bought
the
it in a
podcast. Yep.
sale, and he bared me into me playing it because like he said that the settings were really bored. And I was like, I don't remember being so bored. I loaded it up and then, oh yeah, now I remember it's pretty bored. But then I was like, so to get to the settings, you have to create a new profile, and for some reason, I deleted my old one, or I deleted it for some reason.
All
So I had to
right.
create a new one. Before I just used my Steam name, but this time I was like, no, I'm now Tones of too.
True.
That's my real name now. I changed it.
You're no longer
No,
Trinoa.
no, that's banned. It somewhere in that is a banned word, and
Okay.
it's ans. Ans is a banned word.
It sounds like anus.
I remember, isn't like ans like a button like your Casio scientific calculator? Like it gets the previous answer.
Maybe. I don't think I had like a powerful calculator.
Yeah,
Not one
okay.
that could run Doom, at least. That's for sure.
No,
It's
no, no.
not it wasn't pregnancy test here,
Do you
so
not do you not have a scientific calculator though?
I think I did at one point, but I
Okay,
barely
because I had
used
to
it.
have one, but
So we got a message from Andy. Nice stream. If you'd like more viewers, go to mrdestructoid.tv and get 20% off bots with code Tempo. If you want money off from Tempo Storm, you have to use the code Forehead, as in Reynard's forehead. That's the one. Okay.
what 5 heads?
Well, today we're gonna go into trailers, and then I'm gonna try and speed run quick news, and we'll see how quick I am.
We said this multiple times. but
No,
let's just try
today's
it
the
this time.
day. I'm doing
Yeah,
the quick news speed run any percent
any percent.
after trailers.
Yeah.
After trailers. So
Okay, well,
we got a fucking new Left 4 Dead update. I've talked about this, and it's out now, and I've played it. It came out 3 days ago, September 24th. So we've got a brand new campaign, the Last Stand campaign, which I was like, oh my god, a new campaign. We're gonna get 5 new maps. It's 2 maps. I was like, kind of a little disappointing with the length of the maps, because I was like expecting it to be a full-fledged campaign. Like, the first part of the campaign's really cool.
right.
And then, like, the second part is like a short walk, and then it's like a survival section with like 5 tanks. So we've got brand new melee weapons. We've got the shovel. We've got the pitchfork, which I believe they said were like references to that game.
Minecraft.
No, what is that? I can't remember what it's called. What is that game where you're just a guy and you go around town and you set people on fire and stuff? And it's like it's based on a
Postal?
move. I think it's based on Postal, the new weapons.
Okay.
There's 30 brand new achievements. There's 26 new survival maps. They were like, yeah, can we turn this into a survival map? Probably. So they did. There's 4 new scavenge maps. So the Left 4 Dead 1 infected are back, so you can have the Left 4 Dead 1 infected. Character models, they've been kind of polished by a modeler to look a bit better in Left 4 Dead 2. There's new animations for everything, for all the guns and all the characters. There's PvP enhancements and balance changes. And I think one of the coolest things I found, like, there was shovels and pitchforks. One of the coolest things I found when I was playing is like, cool, I can get the new Counter-Strike source weapons in Left 4 Dead. Like, I had the knife from Counter-Strike, and that was what I had the most fun with, I would say.
Really? Okay, interesting.
There's new UI options as well, which is really cool. So I actually played this. I'll probably do a tangerine on it at some point, but here's some footage of me playing the new campaign just to get a quick look at it while I talk about it for like a couple minutes. I'll want to go like super in depth in this, so I won't talk about it fully. All of my thoughts.
Before we continue, I have a meta question here.
Yeah.
On the Google Docs, why is there like 2 bullet points for the Left 4 Dead 2 stuff?
Because I copy pasted the information from a YouTube comment.
Okay.
I didn't put like the bullet points in
Fair enough.
because YouTube comments don't have like a bullet point system. So.
Yeah. That just getting really confusing me. Okay, sorry. Meta question averted.
But yeah, this is pretty cool. Kind of disappointed by that. So, one thing I'll just mention quickly, I did watch Letting Off Steam, which is the Valve News Network podcast where he talks with various members of the online community, and he was talking to, I think about 4 or 5 of the main guys behind this modding project, and they were saying how, initially the concept for the update was with Valve. Kerry was supposed to be that they were just going to make a update that added new survival maps. So that kind of explains why the campaign itself is quite short. Their initial idea was we're going to port the Last Stand survival map from Left 4 Dead 1, and why don't we make some new survival maps? And that's cool. We'll do like a community update with Valve. And then like Half-Life Alyx was in development, so then they were like, oh, we're going to have to table this for now. And then the modding team was like, well, we've got all this extra team and we're making an update. Why don't we make a campaign as well? Like, I think like the campaign was like, obviously they spent a lot of time working on it and it's cool, but I think if they had more time, it could have been like a lot cooler and longer sort of thing. Like they said that this is a kind of a 2-part update as well, because there's the modding side, and then Valve's going to do an update where they're going to update the source engine for Left 4 Dead.
Right.
And they're going to do some changes to how like workshop add-ons are handled for Left 4 Dead. So that Valve's doing a bunch of quality of life updates, because the team themselves said there was tons of really cool stuff we wanted to do, like balance changes and stuff like that. And then we were asking Valve, and Valve were like, we can't give you access to like that part of like the internal game code sort of thing. Like there was certain limitations they had, being like a third-party modding team, and not, being Valve contractors.
Can they not be contracted out though, and like actually sign the correct documentation?
We'll have to see, like, because the thing is, like, we're in COVID times, so like being officially contracted by Valve, I think what's going on here is they're pretty much going to be like, see how this update is perceived by the community, how it affects the player base, and then they'll be way more likely to do like community created updates for stuff like Counter-Strike Source, Day of Defeat, TF2, stuff like that, where there's massive community bases that want to add updates to the game but can't officially through Valve. So that'd be pretty cool. But yeah, check out in the next couple of weeks. I'll probably do a Tangerine, and I'll go in depth into this because I don't want to spend 20 minutes talking about Left 4 Dead 2 on the podcast, because there is so much news. Like, I don't know what it is about autumn, but apparently, I guess it's because we're so close to Christmas that all the news is coming out.
I don't know if you noticed, but when games get announced, like it's either like Easter, summer, or fall, or autumn as it's called in the UK.
Yeah,
and I feel like a lot of games get announced in autumn over the summer for some reason. Because like films come out in the summer mainly. I guess I don't know what the reasoning is for that. Yeah, there's way more news than any other. At least it seems for us anyway.
We got the Fall Guys Season 1 mid-season update. We got the, I think it was, the name of it was Anti-Cheatus Big Yeetus update. So they added easy anti-cheat with the friends over at Epic, which was pretty cool. I haven't really seen any cheating since the kernel level easy anti-cheat was added. So that's pretty cool. Like, hacking was like one of the biggest problems with the game, and now that's pretty much gone to be non-existent in my experience. So that's really cool. They've also added random level variations, and that, I think that should have been in the game from the start. That adds so much to it, where I'd played the game for like 30-40 hours and I'd learned like every map, so every time I played the map I knew exactly what to do. But now there's like, on this part of the map there's now random hammers, and it just completely changes up how you play the map, and it adds so much replayability to a game that has can be repetitive if you played the same thing over and over again. And of course the Big Yeetus, the hammer that sometimes will knock you into the end goal and sometimes knock you off the map. It's pretty cool. I like it.
Was that what we saw in the that Twitter video on the
Yeah, so I talked about this on the podcast before, and I was like, they're teasing a giant hammer that can randomly spawn and just hit people, and I was like, I can't tell if this is a meme or not. Yeah. But that's out now. I have played that, and it's very good. Conan Exiles Isle of Siptar. It came out September 15th, so it's out now. It is a $20, and it's the first like big expansion for Conan Exiles. I know Conan Exiles has tons of DLC, but this is the first like expansion level DLC for Conan Exiles, from what I've seen of it, and from everything I've heard from what people say about Conan Exiles, kind of mirrors my thoughts of playing the free weekend, where exploration, crafting, and base building in this game is really cool, but the combat's kind of meh. I didn't get on with the combat that much at all. But yeah,
I had the results for the combat when I actually owned the game, and I would say that the other DLC is more like, some of them is like, oh, you get extra building elements and things.
Yeah,
that's kind of like the stuff, and this is like an actual. This
like,
is like a whole
what's
map,
that?
right?
What's that Skyrim expansion? Hearth, or what was it? What's it called?
I always get confused. Stonehearth, I think.
Stonehearth, Chinese Hearthstone.
No, that's not right. Fuck. What's it called? Hearthfire?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's Hearthfire.
Isn't there like a Hearthy one for? Isn't there like a Stone Hearth or Stone Heart for like The Witcher 3 as well?
Oh, is there?
There's like Blood and Wine.
Yeah.
Hearts of Stone, yeah, is one of the expansions for The Witcher 3. Okay. Basically, if you're playing like a medieval kind of style RPG, you're gonna have Heart and Stone in it at some point as a title for some reason. So yeah, just shout that out. We got a new Hot Lava update, which is kind of big, because initially you could only play as one character, but now you can play as 2 new characters, and they each have their own special ability, which is pretty cool. So you will be able to like play through the entire game with these different abilities. So if you got stuck on a certain level and you were like, damn, I really wish I could like double jump here, there's now like a character that specializes in double jump, which will change your play style. And then if you're like me and you hate surfing in this game, there's also a character that specifically specializes in surfing to get a surf boost. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I'll have to check that out. Why am I getting? What is this Hang on, what is this recommendation? The worst toy ever? Oh, it's a critical video. Okay, that makes sense. I saw the thumbnail and I'm like, why am I getting recommended like a rainbow pony thumbnail? And then I was like, oh, it's critical. That makes sense. Okay. Our second to last trailer, No Man's Sky Origins. This is like, they've made like 20 updates for No Man's Sky since it came out, but this is their big 3.0 Origins update. So they're completely changing how every planet is like rendered and made, and all the animals and stuff. So
yeah, I'm actually really happy with this one.
This seems really cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to watch this on YouTube because it's on me mute it. But for the main cliff notes are, every planet can have volcanoes, tornadoes, lightning, actual cloud coverage. Like when clouds go above the sky, they actually
terrain.
Yeah, the weather system is really cool. Like meteor systems, multiple stars, way more plants, and way more animals on your planets as well. So you're not going to see like the same Lego animal over and over again, just different pieces put together.
Remember when this game was first announced, had like really cool stuff that weren't actually in the actual game? I'm hoping we actually get to see some of that in this, but
you've been saying we need to make a No Man's Sky spotlight for like 4 years, and we still haven't made it. So
that's because I need to actually get past the first boss of
what's the
really
first
slow
boss?
gathering and menus.
Oh, well, so one thing I said was, somebody was saying, this game's really cool, but I bet you people still aren't going to play it because the resource gathering grind is still like, they're still going to complain about that.
Well, the first starting is just really annoying. Like I just hate. Okay, but I'll say this though: if they're changing planets and how planets like look and feel, like I feel like you get like a better spawn now. Like I feel like it'd actually be easier to like navigate, or more interesting anyway. So I'm hoping that I don't know. I'll give it a go, but I might need to. Maybe we should make. I have to like stream you like what I'm doing like to help me out or something.
Yeah, I
don't
mean,
know.
as someone who's played No Man's Sky for like an hour on launch, I can say that back then the game was very broken, but the
Yeah.
game actually looks like in a very playable state to what I would want to
This-
play. So I would
The
definitely
start is
consider buying it again.
The start is very similar to the
Oh,
start.
oh, I
that
know,
did
Tony. I
before.
walked through the start because I didn't know there was a sprint button.
Well, you can still do that if you want.
Yeah, that's a feature. Okay, I'll go into our final trailer, I believe. Microsoft Flight Simulator is getting an update for Japan. They're adding a bunch of new, like, handcrafted monuments for Japan. So, like, instead of having, like, the sometimes funky AI upscaled, versions of buildings and stuff, there's actually purpose-built buildings for Japan, which is pretty cool.
Why did Japan get, like, the first update?
I think they did, like, most of America first.
Oh, I see. So they handed American.
Some of these places already have, like their, like, because I saw someone on Reddit was saying like, he would go to like the place where he used to live and it'd be like, oh, there's these beautiful models for this state, and then he would go to Washington DC and it would be like low resolution AI upscaled stuff, and he's like, what's going on there? And I think people were saying like
all the stuff I saw,
Andy said he thinks Japan was the most requested. I'm guessing there's a bunch of flight. The kind of people would spend like thousands of dollars on flight sim equipment are probably the same people who spend thousands of dollars on anime figures. So it's weebs. The weebs won on this one.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
No, I was gonna say that I from the stuff I watched, I just assumed that the whole world was like that because like they only were in like California and stuff.
I think Japan has cool architecture, so obviously this is a cool place to. Okay. All right, Tony, you ready?
Okay, wait, I need to get the timestamp.
That is coming out in 2 days. Is the Japan World Update trailer?
Okay, interesting.
So.
All right. Okay.
We're gonna go on to quick news. I've got
it. We want a good number. So start in. Go.
Okay. Fortnite is getting updated to Unreal Engine 4. If you don't know what Fortnite is, it's made by the people who make Unreal Engine. They're moving it to Unreal Engine 4 because apparently it wasn't in Unreal Engine 4 yet. And it's adding a bunch of cool shadows, and it's adding ray tracing with Nvidia as well. And in 2021, they'll be moving it to Unreal Engine 5. Dwarf Fortress is getting a new update. Rainbow Six Siege will run at 4K 120 FPS on next-gen consoles. The upgrade will be free for all current owners. Borderlands 3 is getting the same upgrade. People have used... there's a mod for Fallout New Vegas that uses AI to upscale all of the textures to 4K HD texture packs. I know. That's really cool. I know Dave was saying, "Hey, didn't Bethesda?
That is really cool.
Didn't Bethesda update all of the old New Vegas textures?" And I was like, "You're probably thinking about this mod." So if you see this in the news, this isn't Bethesda. This is a third-party mod that's done this. That is really cool.
Yeah, this is really cool.
We said Gods and Monsters was probably renamed because they had the word God in it.
No.
No, it's not true. Apparently, Monster Energy Drink was the legal contestant on the name Monsters and Gods. Because apparently...
Monster? Fuck off.
So, me and you had a quick conversation about this because I looked into it a little bit more and I pointed out Monster Energy has a game that came out in 2019. They have like a motorbike game that came out like recently.
Yeah, it's really bad.
So they were arguing that Monster had a IP in gaming so that they would contest the gaming brand name against Gods and Monsters.
I will say this. Just because your brand has a generic name in it does not mean you get to own that name.
Monster Energy Supercross, the official video game. This was the game that
was... It's the same nonsense that Bethesda pulled against Notch and Scrolls. Just because
Monster
you have Elder
Energy
Scrolls doesn't mean you own the word
official...
Scrolls. There are Scrolls in other games, Bethesda. There are monsters in other games, Monster Energy Drink.
I think this might come out in 2020. I think Monster Energy Supercross, the official video game 3, is probably my game of 2020. I have to go out there and say it now.
Really?
Where's the
I
third
remember it
one?
last year though. Oh right, are they all shit?
And as people might point out, there's also Monster Energy drink in Death Stranding. Checkmate, atheists. There we go. All right.
It's like a core mechanic.
IKEA and Asus are partnering up to make gaming furniture, whatever the fuck that means. Somebody on Reddit was saying, like, they're probably just going to take the IKEA Marcus, one of the best affordable gaming chairs, and just put RGB lights on it. That's what I assume would happen, and then just up the price.
Yeah, but I think as well, like, you have like shelves and chest of drawers with RGB on. I'm okay with that as well.
Former Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk
up,
2077 devs have partnered up with Dying Light devs, and they're forming a new studio to announce the game Invincible, a first-person sci-fi thriller set in a retro future timeline. The screenshots for this game look really cool. So I'm pretty interested in this. I love like the art style of this game already, so really cool. I'll be interested to see how that turns out. THQ Nordic is opening 2 new studios. Rainbow Studios Montreal in Canada, which will produce assets and help other studios with co-production. And THQ Nordic is also opening a new studio in Czech Republic, which will work on a strategy RPG title. It seems like with the new EA Pass, EA is completely rebranding Origin now to be called the EA Desktop app, and from everything I can see, it's replacing Origin to make it Origin 2.0, just called EA Desktop app. And the only feature difference I can see really is dark mode, so that's like pretty interesting. Heroes of the Storm is doing Craft Wars, so Warcraft characters are getting Starcraft skins, Starcraft characters are getting Warcraft skins, and also via the patch notes, everyone's getting the baseline ability that grants Unstoppable. So if you don't know, Unstoppable is basically you're immune to CC. So everyone's getting the ability to be able to like break CC. So this is going to change the meta around like characters that have CC are very powerful, but now everyone's going to have that baseline ability. So that will help balance the meta a bit. And there's also going to be Diva and Gazlowe reworks. And thank God there's getting Gazlowe reworks, because I feel like that character is so fucking useless. Yeah.
Wait, goblins have SC? Oh, I can't remember the fucking code. That's been so long. SCVs?
Tony, we're moving on. Microsoft has found that underwater data centers are actually quite reliable and practical and use energy sustainably. So one thing I wanted to point out is there's going to be way harder to physically enter as well, and I want to see a movie in the future where we have scuba diving hackers who break in to underwater data centers. What are you going to say, Tony?
I was saying, I think it's really cool that we're using passive cooling to because we're kind of wasting energy because we've already got cooling. My only concern is this isn't a Microsoft problem. This isn't like limited to this story. You know, like we're solving global warming with like CO2 at the moment.
Right.
I'm pretty sure the next crisis is going to be like so many data centers like pumping out so much heat.
Well, the thing is, they're so good because you don't need air in them, right?
No,
you don't need to. You get like passive cooling from being underwater.
So the current ones you actually have to like,
and they're harder to physically entry by diver hackers. That's another advantage.
Yeah. But it basically it's passive. Instead of having to pump it out into the air, like you just let the water do it for you. So like it takes less energy. So it's still like the net heat from like the energy it takes to do that is still better. So it isn't like actually their problem. I'm just concerned as we switch over to like, I feel like everyone's going to do this. Like we're going to pump more and more like heat into the waters and like raise the sea temperature or something. I don't know. I just feel like this is going to be the next crisis where we're going to have to. Oh my god, we got.
I'll tell you where the next crisis is. Fallout 76 is adding level scaling updates similar to Elder Scrolls Online, but scaling up rather than down. Elder Scrolls Online scaled you up to endgame, which had a lot of trouble with endgame loot and that sort of stuff. But while still remaining There will still remain minimum level requirements on certain areas in Fallout 76, so you won't be able to just walk to an end-game area and kill a very high-level boss, but you will be able to scale with your friends in order to play with them, which is always a nice feature.
In the update version, it has like in brackets the size of them. Is that the size of the game or the size of the update?
Sorry, what are you saying?
And in the link, as an update version, it's like PC Bethesda.net 23.3 gigabytes.
Yeah, it's the size, right?
So of what though? The update or the game?
I think the game.
The full game.
I would assume the full game. I don't know. I don't know. Call of Duty League is moving to PC for 2021, but mouse and keyboard isn't allowed. So everyone's going to be playing on PC, so it's easier to restream the point of view, but everyone's still going to be playing on controllers. I think esports leagues where you have aim assist is pretty ridiculous, because then how are you measuring player skill when every single player is being assisted by aimbot? I don't understand.
Yeah, but okay, that's not for sure. Everyone's on the same playing field though. Like everyone's got aim assist.
You're going for the Incredibles, where if everybody's super, nobody is.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying, but that's like, but okay, but there's still skill in what they're doing. I agree.
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
It's a bit. I still personally, I would rather there was no aim assist, but like
I personally would have if all of the players wanted to play on controller, I'd rather them play on controller with no aim assist. I think
but like, the way the controller works, that's really annoying. But yeah, I'd like to see. I'd like to see if that's possible first, like how that changes.
Because from my experience, I've seen people talk about Rainbow Six Esports League. They said a lot of the players played on controller, and then when people started moving over to mouse and keyboard, a lot of the controller players made the move over to mouse and keyboard, and they preferred the mouse and keyboard because they had so much more aim control. And
so one thing,
what are you saying?
I said the one thing I think we should mention probably is like the actual issue with having aim assist is that you kind of like adding RNG elements to like the skill based game. I guess is like the problem you're having.
Yeah,
it's like oh, I happen to win because.
But it's not just like a skill. It's not just like a problem with like normal matchmaking player versus player. It's not even a problem of a ranked game mode player versus player. It's the best players in the world are in a league that is testing who is the best player in the world, and then you have a robot who's assisting people's aim.
Yeah, but the best people playing the world have always played on console with aim assist. Like, what's the difference?
Right, but now they're moving to PC, and I think it's kind of interesting that even though they're on a PC, they're not able to use the primary input format, which is mouse and keyboard.
Yeah, I for me personally, I think that they could have have like two. I don't know because way more expensive.
We've seen with mixed formats like Rainbow Six Siege and Fortnite. There's been controller players who can keep up with aim assist, but almost all of them have moved over to mouse and keyboard eventually because it's just so much better than using controller.
But is that not the reason why they're keeping it with controllers? Because everyone who plays Call of Duty esports is on controller already. They don't want to move over.
But I think it just seems kind of crazy that like there is PC players for Call of Duty, and at the top level, you're just going to tell them, well, you have no option but to play on a controller now, rather than.
Why can't there be two?
Why can't they have the option?
Division and a controller division.
I don't know. Anyway, you know what I said about I clicked on something.
Oh no!
You know what I said about people are going to get really confused about the Xbox One X and the Xbox Series X. Turns out the Xbox One X sales rank is up by 747% on Amazon right now because so many people are trying to buy the Series X and don't understand the difference between the Xbox One X and the Series X. Rocket League is now free to play on Epic, and now Rocket League requires an Epic account to play even through Steam. We have seen this in other games. In order to get Epic Steam crossplay, you need an Epic account, like, for example, Satisfactory. I had to input my Epic account into the Steam version so I could crossplay with my friends on Epic. So, maybe it's a crossplay thing, but some people are complaining now that that they have to make an Epic account to play their Steam version of Rocket League, which they find kind of shit, and then they're saying, well, this is a stepping stone now, and then eventually it's only going to be on Epic, and they're going to remove it from Steam, like, because I think they've already had to refund all the Linux people because they can't support Linux on Epic. But yeah, the Nintendo 3DS production has finally come to an end. This is kind of huge news. This is the end of an era. I remember I have so many fond memories of the DS era of the Nintendo. I feel like every time Nintendo makes a portable console, it has such a huge impact on like the world.
True.
Like the Game Boy, the DS, the Switch. We don't talk about the Wii U. You know, every console they make. That's not well. Sorry. Yeah, you could kind of have the tablet portable, but yeah, it wasn't like portable in the sense the other ones were. That's for sure. But yeah, I don't know. It's just like the end of an era. Like I remember we were talking about on the previous podcast, like how they were just ending Netflix support for the original Wii, and I was like, Jesus, I can't believe so many people were watching Netflix on their Wiis. You know?
Yeah. I feel like, but in my opinion, like the era ended as the Switch was like a year old.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're way past the 3DS point.
But the 3DS like had some amazing games on it as well, like in terms of
it still does if you have them.
Like I have fond memories of my DS. I think Mario Kart DS is my favorite Mario Kart game of all time. So like,
that's a really good one actually.
I play like I love Pokemon Diamond on my DS. Like, Super Mario Bros on the DS was great. I have so many fond memories of DS games. So
I had to buy a DS Lite. I got the original DS, but it broke, so I got a DS Lite. Then at the same time, I already had Pokemon Pearl. I was like, I'm gonna get Pokemon Diamond as well. I paid for the scam.
You got scammed. The Nintendo always does that scam where they're like, it's a different game, guys, if you get the different color.
It's so fucking dumb.
Yeah, I don't like that either. Oh, you can only get this evolution of Eevee in Shield, or you're gonna get this evolution of Eevee in Sword, or whatever it was this time.
The one good thing, I guess, is that I could borrow someone else's DS and I could trade with myself.
Okay.
So that's the only way that the scam wasn't a scam. But yeah, like we put
Nintendo
one extra
scamming
Pokemon.
Kids for years. That's the title.
We put one legendary Pokemon in one game and a different one in the other one. Fuck you.
We got a Master Chief Collection update of the first look at the custom game browser for Halo Master Chief Collection. There will be custom games coming to Master Chief Collection, which is cool. And we also got the release of ODST, which I have been playing. I've played through the entire game in like a day, I think. It's quite shortish, but I did play like it for probably 4 or 5 hours or something. So really cool. And also, Tony, I didn't know this. I was playing through the game. The entire cast of Firefly is in ODST, and that's why it's the best Halo game.
What?
So immediately I was like, one of the main characters is Buck, who is Nathan Fillion. And I was like, oh, cool, Nathan Fillion's in this game. And then I start listening to the other voices, and I'm listening to, I'm trying to remember his name, the pilot. And I was like, wait, that's Wash from Firefly. And then I'm like, okay, I gotta look this up to make sure I'm not insane. Yeah, that's Alan Tudyk, right? And I'm like, that's the voice actor. And then I looked it up. It's like, and then Jane from Firefly is also one of the other characters. So they have like the main cast of Firefly is the ODST squadron. And I'm like, this is insane. How did I never know this? How did I never know the entire cast of Firefly is in ODST? But yeah, that's out now. I've played through it. It's really cool. It's a really strange pace for a Halo game because ODST is really not like any other Halo game.
Halo game.
Yeah, Romeo, Mickey is Alan Tudyk, who is Wash. Buck is Nathan Fillion, and the other, I think the other one is Jane. Whoever the other character is in ODST, the one you didn't list, Andy. Yeah.
I'll say going back to the pace of it. It's like you're not a master chef in this.
You are, so I think in every game where you don't play as Master Chief. How is this game in the Master Chief Collection, by the way, Andy? They got away with it in Reach, but why is ODST in here? Oh,
it's
Dutch.
Halo
Dutch is
3.
Jane. Yeah.
It's Halo 3.
It's Halo 3, and Master Chief was in Halo 3.
ODST.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like it's a standalone. It's the expanderalone, Joe.
So this game's like you have what's called street missions, and basically you're dropping into the
war zone.
The war zone, the attack on New Mombasa, which is like the capital of Earth, I think, in like the future.
Oh, really?
And the Covenant attack is set like halfway in between Halo 2, I believe. And basically, it's kind of like a detective game. You wake up and your entire squad's missing, and you walk around. So you have what's called street missions. You walk around, you find something, and you're trying to piece together what happened to people. So then you kind of go into like the next mission's like a flashback of what happened, and you play through your other squad characters what happened. And then you go back to the streets and you walk around and you find another thing, and you're like trying to piece together what happened. Like the music in the streets is like jazz music. Like you have Halo 2 where Halo 2 is like, we're going to have every single enemy in the game and it's going to have the Halo theme with an electric guitar. And then ODST is like, we're going to have you walk around the streets in an open world, piecing together a mystery with smooth jazz music in like a neo-noir game. Yeah. It's so like different. I didn't expect this at all. Like I thought ODST was just going to be another like generic kind of like co-op Halo game. But yeah, this one really surprised me. It's really good. I can see why it's so highly regarded now. It's really fun.
Yeah.
And he said, it's super large for Africa. I believe humanity doesn't have countries, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I think maybe Earth's unified like a Star Trek at this point in the future, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But England's unified. We still have counties, so...
I'm still on quick news, by the way. Metal Gear Solid, Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2, and the Konami Collection series have Castlevania and Contra have come on their way onto GOG. I believe.
Oh God.
I believe Konami's been kind of lazy with this now, though. It seems like the GOG. They've re-released the games in the laziest way possible. There's no proper support for the most commonly used controller on the market. Bare minimum graphics configuration options. Still require fan-made patches to avoid common glitches and audio issues. And they've also just re-released versions of Castlevania and Contra that are also already available on Steam, which are arguably better versions of the classic Konami games.
The Steam ones have more different levels or new levels or something?
I don't know. I haven't looked into it because I've never played Castlevania or Contra, so I honestly couldn't tell you. But it seems like
I played.
They're different versions to the ones on GOG.
I played the Patrick Stewart Castlevania game.
Yeah, I've played that one as well, actually.
Good game, but nothing like a Castlevania game.
You can now play Metal Gear on PC, right? I think that's the big thing.
Yeah, that's what people actually care about.
So I told you they were making Among Us 2. JK, Among Us 2 is cancelled. They basically said, we realised we've got a massive player base for Among Us 1, and we really didn't want to split the player base by making them purchase another game. Because I think Among Us has hit like 2 million players or something on Steam, like over that mark, which is crazy for like a small indie game like this.
After like you said, like, oh, they're gonna make the second one. I think like a few days later, I was thinking like, why don't they just update the first game? Like I realized this.
So what they said of why they weren't going to update the first game was they said it was built on spaghetti code, basically.
Yeah. But you can update your spaghetti code with non-spaghetti code.
And the amount of work they're putting in, they might as well just make another game at that point, is what they were saying.
Yeah. You can basically make another game and then just
basically what they're saying is They didn't want to lose the player base.
Yeah.
So they're going to put the planned features from Among Us 2 into Among Us 1. So they're working on servers, colorblind mode, friends account system, a new stage. This is the most fucking retarded thing ever, but people want ranked mode for Among Us, which I don't fucking understand at all.
Loads of people like that though, right?
There's people who like stream Among Us for like 14 hours a day every day and are trying to win every single game. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you go on Twitch, right? And you play Fortnite for 14 hours a day. You grind it. I get it, okay? You go and you play like fucking, you know, what's another? You grind Stellaris for 14 hours or whatever. I get it, right? How do you grind Among Us? What are you doing? It's a fun party game. What are you doing?
I've seen the son I watch on YouTube is like apparently like he likes it so much he can't stop playing it, so he had to like get other people to recommend him other games.
Right, but then the thing is like, if you're playing in a lobby where everyone wants to win the game, how are you going to have fun? Because at some point people have to lose.
Yeah, well, the person I was watching didn't want to necessarily win. He just like playing it. Like he wasn't.
I'm not saying I don't understand people who want to play the game a lot.
Yeah.
I understand that. That's cool. People who want to win every single game and play it 40 hours a day. I don't understand at all. It doesn't make any sense to me why you want a ranked mode for this fucking game. I think it's gonna. If there's a ranked mode for this game, it's gonna kill the game for sure. For so many people. This is quick news, Tony. There's not time.
Can I just say though, like, surely that's same for any ranked game ever, like, even something like Fortnite. Like, surely eventually you're gonna lose, but you're still playing to win. Like, what's the problem?
I'm saying there's a fundamental problem with having the mindset that you have to win a game that's all about having fun with your friends. So when the mindset of the average... It's trickle down economics. It's trickle down. So when the top players and the big streamers are going, I have to win every game, Johnny and his friends are going to go, this is a fun game to play with friends. And Johnny's going to go, I saw my favorite streamer and he had to win every game. Now I have to win every game. And if you're in my lobby and you're not winning every game, I'm going to flame the fuck out of you and I'm going to kick you out of my lobby and you're not my friend anymore. And it's toxicity that's spreading because of ranked mode and fucking streamers.
To clarify, you're predicting that when they add this, it's going to be the downfall of this game?
Yes!
Okay, I'm predicting the opposite.
Okay, this the new boon of Among Us will be the ranked mode. Everyone's going to start grinding ranked Among Us.
Loads of people play on their own. They don't play with friends.
There's nobody playing this game by themselves.
No, loads of people play by themselves.
How?
Because that's just what they do.
You need like 5 people minimum to even start a lobby.
YouTube, but...
Like the server system's terrible. Like the random matchmaking doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, you can get stuck in a lobby by yourself. By the way, it's really weird.
I understand. Ranked Among Us is going to make you hate the game, hate yourself, hate your friends, like hate everyone. Like,
I'm gonna say this: not everyone's gonna play ranked wants to always win. They're just playing.
Why would you play ranked if you don't want to win? What's the point?
Fine. They want to win, but they're not gonna like beat themselves up for not winning.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
Why?
Why do you play a ranked mode unless you want to win?
5, you go and beat yourself up when you don't win, right? That is ranked.
I'm not playing. I've never played Battlefield 5 ranked.
But many games have ranked. They don't. Like that, why is there a problem suddenly? Okay,
but I've played ranked League of Legends, and that is one of the most toxic things you can ever play in your entire life.
But there are many ranked games that don't have this problem.
Yeah, but there are many games that are designed to be competitive games. This is a game where you walk around and you press a button to kill someone.
Yeah.
I don't.
Then you're trying to solve problems and fix things. I will say that I think there's probably more toxicity because it's a team game, so that always causes more problems.
Yeah, but the thing is, not only can you blame people for being a bad teammate, you can blame people for being bad enemies.
Yeah, true.
You were a terrible imposter. I can't believe this. I'm not playing this game anymore with you.
The person I watched who plays by himself, not competitively maybe, but like he likes playing by himself. That's fine. It is I'd be
I don't know,
interested.
Tony. I will. I don't know. I feel like people are done with watching people sit in lobbies for 14 hours and just
Yes.
scream like XQC screaming into his mic at people for 10 hours because
I
his teammate didn't say he was in this specific room, and then now everyone goes, well,
yeah
I'm a 12-year-old and XQC is screaming at his teammates. I should go into a lobby and do that myself.
yeah I agree. SQC is a terrible role model. I agree.
Yeah,
I'm not going to dispute that.
agree to agree. Okay, quick news. Crysis Remastered suffered from the same single-thread CPU issues, just like the original game. That's kind of sad and also kind of funny, I will say.
Is it funny?
Yeah, because it's an issue that happened on the previous game and they're remastering it, so it's kind of funny that it also affects the new game.
I don't understand this whole like only one world thread thing. Like, why can't you render like the terrain and trees and enemies
Crysis
on different
Remastered is
threads?
always going to be CPU bound because
Yeah, for sure.
the ray tracing tech that they use is software based, so it's going to be all coming from the CPU.
I assume what's really happening is like you have the world thread that's then that gets like massively pounded and it's like always like pegged at 100% sort of thing to, like to run it, which is what the issue is, I presume. Like, because I feel like ray tracing you can put off to other threads because like you can do it in parallel, whereas like the main world thread you kind of have to do like linearly and not in parallel. I don't understand why there aren't more engines that like utilize more threads for the game world. I don't really understand that, but I don't understand enough to be able to like make any actual comment or judgment. So
I mean, I watched Two Clicks Phillips video about the original versus the remaster, and he said that the ray tracing's cool. He likes like the overall graphics changes they made. He said he didn't like the overall. There was a slight aesthetic change because of the graphics update that he wasn't sure about. But
I like the aesthetic change. I quite like the new look, to be honest. I actually would be willing to play the remasters. I mean, the old Crisis actually looks really good. Like I think it's Linus's video that showed like it's still pretty good today.
yeah,
The old OG.
yeah. I
Final
remember
Crisis.
Linus was showing that OG Crisis, and I was like, man, this Crisis remaster looks really good. He was like, nah, this is just old Crisis, and I'm like, man.
But I actually really like the Crisis remaster look. Like I really like the new the filtering and the
I never played either of these games, so I don't know.
I've kind of watched people play Crisis. I kind of like the idea of Crisis, and I think Crisis 1 had a better idea to it than 3.
All of them have. Okay, this is something that Two Clicks Phillips said in his video. All of them have aliens in them, and as soon as you get to the point where instead of being a cool guy in a suit using powers to fight humans, and you get to the point where you're a cool guy in a suit fighting overpowered aliens, that's when the game stops being fun. Is what I've heard.
Yeah, I agree. When you're trying to infiltrate like human bases, like that seems to be the most fun.
He's saying they've never been able to make a Crisis game where you can just have humans versus humans. It's always just had to, at some point, random aliens come in.
I don't understand why they can't just have like aliens are never like.
How am I doing on time? I'm 48. When did I start at? What time?
18 minutes exactly.
Oh, I've been going for half an hour. Okay.
Oh, okay, Carl. Let me just finish by
okay.
Second. I don't understand why we can't just have like, oh, aliens crash landed and died, and like you're collecting like alien corpses. Like, why does it have to be like actual living aliens? I don't understand that at all. Okay, that's me done.
Okay. Unity Technologies raises 1.3 billion in its IPO and 13.6 billion valuation. Unity's gone public. We talked about this before. This is really big for the mobile market because Unity makes up like most of the mobile game development, whereas Unreal Engine's getting attacked by Apple at the moment, and they're in a war, kind of a self-inflicted war from Epic. So that's interesting. And Epic Games has invested 15 millions in Core Games. Basically, Core Games is like a game maker tool that's like Roblox on the Unreal Engine. I've seen people advertising the game through Twitch. Like people have been sponsored to play it, basically, through Twitch. And from everything I've seen, it's like it's like Steam Greenlight, like asset flips, or Roblox, where it's just clones of other games. Like there's a death run game mode, there's a speed running game mode, there's someone made like a really shitty MMO in Core, and it's like I get that stuff like RPG Maker can be used to make stuff like Lisa, for example, like a good game, or stuff like Game Maker. The tool's very good for like prototyping games or making game jam games, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know about this Core stuff. RuneScape's coming to Steam on October 14th, 2020. The good RuneScape, of course, RuneScape 3. I've triggered all the RuneScape fans
good
now.
One, yeah.
And we should also point out old school RuneScape is also coming to Steam in 2021. People were saying they wonder whether they'll just add Rune Lite to a like Steam package. Like, I don't know if you know this, but RuneScape you play through the browser, and a lot of like big RuneScape fans use a program called Rune Lite because it adds like a lot more features to RuneScape. So if this kind of launches like through Rune Lite, this would be really big. But then if it launches through like some sort of custom web browser through Steam, that would be kind of weird. I don't know.
But I would assume that maybe like I'm not saying like this is like effort on the modders, I guess, but they could like mod it in as like a after the fact. I don't know. That'd be quite cool, though.
AMD graphics card in Fortnite. We're done.
Wait, is that what you're saying about it?
Time.
51:30.
Yeah, minus the intro time. What's that? Half an hour?
Yeah. So I can't do this.
What was? I wonder how long did you have a timestamp from the intro from last week? Pog in the chat from Creeker. Can I get a pog in the chat? How long do I rant about Among Us Ranked for? That's the real question.
I don't know. Quite a while. 5 minutes? 10 minutes?
Okay.
Okay, only 33 minutes and 30 seconds.
Okay, not bad. Pog chump. Poggers from me, dog.
I'm gonna just have 51:30 time, and then because we're not talking about anything right now.
Okay, I've got it. I've got a really good feeling about next week. I think next week is gonna be the 112 for quick news.
Have you looked at anything for next week yet?
I don't have any news for next week.
Okay,
no, not
good.
yet. But I have a good feeling about it.
Well, last 2 weeks ago, we already had stuff like pushed into this week's for stuff we had to talk about.
Yeah.
All right, for quick news.
Yeah. Moving on. So, Super Mario 3D All Stars came out. We got the review from Eurogamer Digital Foundry. We're saying what we wonder if it'll be ported to native, run on the Switch, or it'll be emulation. It seems like it's all emulation from what we can see of the game. In some way or another, it's at least a little bit of emulation. So, Super Mario All Stars for the Super NES was 4 games remade in a new engine. So that gave people like hope that Super Mario 3D All Stars would be new engine for like the 3D games. But Super Mario 64 we'll start with is 720p, 30 FPS locked, and the original 4:3 aspect ratio. So yeah, Super Mario 64 is by far the worst emulation port for the Super Mario 3D All Stars. They've done new art for the UI as well, so all like the little coin meter or your life meter, that's all been redone.
But in 4:3.
For Super Mario 64, people are saying that we've seen Super Mario 64 4K 60 on a native PC port that is on the internet and you shouldn't look for because emulation's not real. We know Super Mario 64 can run widescreen 1080p 60 FPS, so this is unexcusable that Super Mario 64 emulated is running 720p 30 FPS 4:3 lock.
Why can't Nintendo just contract out these illegal emulating modders?
That's illegal.
I don't understand. Like,
They're
surely
not
if you did
real.
that,
They
you'd
don't
make all
exist.
the
They're the
money.
boogeyman. They're the John Wick of the
Yeah,
Nintendo universe.
the John Wick. Okay,
Have you seen John Wick?
I've seen the first John Wick. Yeah,
He's called the boogeyman
I guess. Yeah, I said I guess he
in like
is.
Russian or something. They call
Yeah,
him the boogeyman.
yeah.
So
Such a weird
Sunshine
plot.
is a bit better. Sunshine's 1080p, 30 FPS still, so we still haven't got that 60 FPS.
16:9.
But
Nice.
it has been moved to 16:9 aspect. Lock has been moved out, which is cool. We've got the new UI art, sorry, and potentially AI upscale cutscenes. So the cutscenes have been upscaled, potentially by some sort of AI system, like we see with the new Turing graphics cards.
Yeah.
Camera controls inverted with no way to change them. So
Classic.
the difference is with the GameCube controls, you had more buttons on a GameCube controller. So they've adapted how you play it on the Switch because of course you have less buttons on the Switch. But it seems
Right.
silly there's no way to invert the camera controls or enable more controls because there's a GameCube Switch controller. You can get a Switch controller. You can get a controller for the Switch, which is the GameCube controller that exists. And there's still no way to enable specific GameCube controls with that controller, which seems kind of dumb.
Who is that person who made the quote about if you launch a game poorly, it will always be bad if you launch a game late?
Oh yeah,
That,
I know what you're saying. If you
that's
launch
Nintendo guy, right?
if you delay a game, if you delay a game and release it in a good state, it'll always be remembered. But if you rush it and launch it in a bad state, it will always be.
That's a
remembered as
Nintendo
bad.
person, though, right?
I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't
feel like
remember.
why are they not like? I don't know why they're so shit with it, like the old remaster, quote unquote, remasters of their
So
old
I
games.
think
Like, why
this
are they
is.
so bad?
So I think this was made by Nerd, which is the anagram of Nintendo of Europe division. So it seems like the European division of Nintendo was making these emulation ports.
Right.
So it seems like. Before I go on that, Galaxy is actually the best port. It's 1080p 60 FPS, and it's a good 60
Nice.
FPS lock. So it seems weird that the most advanced of all three games has the highest resolution in frames, but okay. New UI as well, and of course the AI upscale cutscenes. So Galaxy and Sunshine are running under a Wii and GameCube emulator named Haggy, I believe. Galaxy recompiled the original code to run natively on the Switch, but then on the Switch CPU, but then the GPU and audio is like being interlaced through an emulator, which is like a really interesting way to do it. It seems like there were some limitations there, so they did that.
Yeah.
Super Mario Sunshine can already be run on Dolphin Wii emulator at 1080p 60 FPS as well, and I think 4K as well.
Okay.
So seems kind of odd that they couldn't get the 60 FPS lock. But yeah, kind of a disappointing collection based on what could have been one of the best 3 Mario games shown in their full unlocked resolution, aspect ratio, and frame rate on a portable system. I think it could have been a lot better. And the limited release stuff as well seems kind of shit.
God, yeah.
Anyway,
it's really dumb.
we got a post from the future Risk of Rain 2. So they said they've gone through their entire roadmap to get to the 1.0 launch. If you don't know, the game now has an ending now. It has like a final stage and a final boss, as well as a new survivor. But now they said they want to add one more content update and then sell expansions, or DLC as some people call them. And then they want to add modding support to the game as well, which is pretty cool.
That's really cool.
And then one thing I'll point out, Stadia is getting an exclusive stage.
What?
For some reason, Stadia gets an exclusive stage for some reason.
I actually forgot Stadia existed.
I keep forgetting Stadia exists until someone points it out, so Yeah.
That's gonna die. Like I don't think anyone thinks Stadia is gonna be
Got a
big.
post here from my friend Mark A.S. Brownlee. There's an app. The Apple SE is coming out, so it seems like if you don't know about the SE range of Apple, it's kind of like the budget range.
Special edition.
Yeah, second edition is what it's
Oh,
called.
sorry, yeah.
It's not Skyrim. So it seems like Apple was tired of getting their expensive Apple Watches undercut by the Fitbit market. So we'll see some real competition here with a $279 Apple Watch SE, and I think it has pretty much most of the features of the newer Apple Watches. It's swim proof. It's got you can connect to your phone. It's cellular.
Yeah,
It's got messages. It's got the face sharing.
Apple Watch is basically waterproof, right?
And it also has like the full detection. I read a story of like the full detection and heartbeat monitor on an Apple Watch like saved the life of like a cop who'd like fallen unconscious and was like, this guy's in trouble, he needs help, sort of thing. That's which really is kind of interesting, like cool feature.
But I saw there's some slow mo guys where Gavin is the main guy, right? The thinner guy.
Gavin and Dan. Yeah, Dan's the
big.
Is the Rooster Teeth guy, and then
fella.
Dan's the army dude who broke his arm on a skateboard in front of Tony Hawk.
Yeah, but he jumped into his like bathtub with it, and like because it because it has speakers on it, so the water can get clogged in that. So when it gets out, it then detects that it's no longer in water, and it tries to get rid of the water from the speakers, which is really cool.
Oh, that's cool.
You record that.
Yeah, because I know like a lot of people like Fitbits and stuff. They like to go swimming with their Fitbit, which is really cool. Yeah. I'm interested in like an Apple Watch because I bike a lot, and I think like a display on your arm is really cool, especially like track like how far I've gone and stuff.
I just want to watch. I just want like a really cool digital watch, I guess. But
wait, are you saying like a dumb? Are you saying like a dumb watch? Or are you saying like a smart watch?
No, like a smartwatch. Like I could like I'm at the moment like I need to buy like my old watch broke.
Yeah,
and it's been broken for like a year now. And like I need to buy like an expensive.
Well, I never wear a watch because my argument is I always have my phone and my phone tells the time. Yeah. So why do I need a watch?
That's fine. That's fine. I agree with you on that. You don't need it, but I really liked wearing a watch. I kind of miss it, and I'm now debating like I kind of like the idea of having. I'd love an Android watch, but they're all shit.
I think the Samsung one's a good one.
Then some of that great compared to Apple Watches though. The Apple Watch is like a far superior.
Yeah, I think some of the Fitbits are pretty good when it comes to like a more budget.
But I'm not using it for like
Fitbits are still like they still have like a good range of like legit smartwatches.
Well,
even if you're not using it for sport
market, though, aren't they? Really?
Like, no, I think you're getting like confused by branding. I think they're primarily like bought by people like that, but you can still use a Fitbit just as like a normal smartwatch.
Yeah, but I don't think it's as like snappy or like as a good user experience from what I remember. But I haven't actually looked into it in a while. But last time I looked at a Fitbit watch, it wasn't that great.
But yeah, this is really cool. Like I know I'm personally a fan of the SE, as I have an iPhone SE. Like I think it's a really cool product that Apple is finally realizing they have to get into the budget market of like mobile phones and smartwatches. So
I also agree with Apple in when you make a budget version, you still keep some like quality elements to like beat the competitors, sort of thing. I kind of like that as their strategy. They make one budget that everyone gets. I like that. That's really cool.
Yeah. Okay. Because speaking of who the fuck remembers Stadia, Apple is launching its own streaming gaming service called Luna next month. So I'll just read out the list. So Amazon is announcing its game streaming service. Apple already has the Apple Arcade, Tony.
Yeah, that's what I was confused about.
So this is Amazon, and once again, Amazon's trying to get into games ever since it got the Twitch acquisition. It's been trying really hard to like with like the New World MMO and like Crucible, the MOBA, and whatever the hell the other game they made was called.
What's the New World MMO? Is that what it's called? Does he said that?
Yeah, I said that. The New World MMO, which actually looks kind of good. Like, out of all the stuff they've made, the New World one looks the most interesting.
Yeah. What? Okay. I don't understand why it's such a generic name though. Like I find it really hard to remember.
A whole new world.
It's like
I can't
so
say more
generic.
than that. I'll get content ID'd.
True.
But I'll read out the features of Luna. So, early access pricing will be $6 a month. Unlimited hours of play. I feel like that would be like a default feature of like a game streaming. Imagine you stream your games for like 10 hours. You're like, whoa, hold up, buddy. That's enough streaming for today.
What's it called? The Nvidia one. What's that?
Nvidia Shield. The Nvidia Now, yeah.
The free version or like the cheaper version. I think it's the free version. Like you have limited time on each game, right?
GeForce Now.
Yeah.
GeForce
Now. You can only play a game for like an hour or 2 hours. And you have to like restart the session if you want to keep playing.
Oh, but this is unlimited hours of play for the $6 a month price.
Yes, I'm saying once you on the GeForce Now, if you then start paying for the subscription, you don't have that issue. That's unlimited.
Yeah, but I believe this doesn't have a free version.
Yeah, I find it weird that that's what I'm saying. I feel like it's weird that they're saying that there's no free
That's
version.
a feature, Tony.
Yeah, that's like as if they're comparing it to other streaming services that don't.
They have a growing library of games, whatever that means. Up to so it can do 1080p 60 FPS and then 4K in the future, whatever FPS that will be. So you can stream on 2 devices at a time, and you can play on PC, Mac, Fire TV, web apps for iPhone and iPad. It's coming with iOS support via browser.
Is this kind of like it's like you buy one streaming package and like it's for kind of designed for 2 people, or is it like you have 2 devices, one at work, one at home, sort of thing?
So in early access, you will buy a subscription for $6 a month to Luna Plus, a channel offering unlimited access to a growing selection of games. Engadget reports that Resident Evil 7, Control, Tacoma, Res Infinite, Metro Exodus, Sexy Brutale, and Overcooked 2 will be the games included in launch. Some of them will not be ready at launch. Amazon's Luna landing page, which I won't click on because it goes to an Amazon, and I don't want to show my personal Amazon account on screen, features some icons for games such as Yooka-Laylee and The Impossible Lair, Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night, and SteamWorld Dig 2, the best game of all time. And there are no signs of an option to purchase games via a la carte through Luna at this point, so we don't really know if you're going to be purchasing the games and then streaming them, or you're going to be paying for the games to be... You're paying the subscription to play the games, like Game Pass. It's so hard to tell with game streaming services these days.
Yeah. I'll try. Right. Okay. So, have they not been like more? Wait, Ubisoft coming soon.
So I think the subscription gives you an access to a library of games, is what it's saying. And as well, you can also purchase a Luna controller if you want, Tony, which will cost £40.
Yeah. Right, it's not a bad looking controller, but that's quite expensive for generic controller. Why is it so expensive?
Yeah, I don't know. Denied. No Amazon reveal. Feel bad, man. I'm sorry.
At this time, only people have received an invitation to...
I'll go on my alt account and I'll stream The Boys. For The Boys.
Yeah, The Boys.
Yeah. You can actually stream The Boys on Twitch now because of watch parties.
True, yeah.
Like Nim was streaming The Boys the other day and I was watching it. But you have to have like You have to have like your Twitch account linked to an Amazon Prime account, and then like it shows you everyone the video at the same time through like Amazon Prime, which is kind of interesting. Anyway, I don't know what to think of this. I feel like it's another Stadia, but honestly, it might even be better than
it's
Stadia.
better than Stadia. You have to pay. It's not like a weird you pay for a rented PC then buy games on it. This is like this is more like a Netflix of games. You just pay for it.
Dude, how many times have you heard the Netflix of games and then
but none of them are like it. This is the only one that's actually close to it.
I don't think anything. No, I don't think this is. I feel like every time somebody says it's going to be the Netflix of games, nothing happens.
Yeah, that's fine. Nothing may not happen, but it's still actually got the business model similar to it. All the other ones.
So
are like,
the advantages Amazon has
different business model
is they have Amazon web servers, which are probably the most popular web servers in the world. So they have the infrastructure to host a cloud-based.
Yeah. They have the money as
streaming
well.
service. They have the money. They got Jeffy Bezos, yeah.
Yeah. That'd be more of a hindrance at this point, but yeah.
I think they're doing the...
But it has, compared to Stadia, it has the actual business model that makes sense for the consumer. Or
they're doing the Stadia thing, and they're partnering up with Ubisoft, so you can play a bunch of Ubisoft games.
I want to say, though, it's going to be a separate expense, though, for the Ubisoft stuff. I might be wrong about that, because it just says coming soon on the
it just says Amazon service will offer a channel of Ubisoft titles for an unspecified price. So it will be like Uplay Plus, but through Luna.
Yeah.
Also, the logo and the controller looks like the Vive logo.
Yeah, it does a bit, actually. I guess they're thinking that like it'll be like an ecosystem, like kind of like the Play Store. Like, we can have like other streaming services through our, like everyone like buy the Luna controller, so everyone will be using our network sort of thing. Maybe, I don't know.
No.
But this is the closest we've come to, at least in the business model side. I'm not saying if it actually becomes this big, but like it's actually designed to.
Oh, hold up! Wait a minute, game changer. It's got Alexa support.
Yeah.
Alexa, this is so sad. Play Despacito. Alexa, this is so sad. Play This War of Mine. What's like a sad game?
Can I have a command?
This is so sad. Play
Every
The
time I
Last of Us.
die.
Oh wait, can't play that.
Alexa, every time I die, play Despacito.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on. The Oculus Quest 2 came out, and I've been saying, hey, they're delisting the Oculus Quest 1, and the Oculus Quest 1 is arguably one of the best VR headsets out there right now, because it has the ability to give you fully wireless VR experience without the huge compromises that came with that in the past. Now, so this is going to cost £300 or $299 for our US friends. The base model will be 64 gigabytes. So this is £100, $100 less than the original Quest, which is quite big. Or you can get the 250 gigabyte version, which is £400. Keep in mind, America shows pre-tax prices, while EU usually includes tax in the price.
Yeah.
So the display for this is no longer OLED. It is LCD, but with LCD you get bigger pixels and you get better response time, and you also get higher resolution. So you're getting almost 4K. It's 1832 times 1920 per eye, because that's one resolution split up into two eyes. The Quest 1 was 1440 times 16,000 resolution per eye, and that was OLED. But of course, for the higher refresh, which this has, you're going to need... So it's 90 hertz. My biggest complaint about the Quest 1 was it was 72 hertz. And that was massively disappointing for people who suffer from motion sickness, because it was widely accepted that 90 hertz was the baseline minimum refresh rate you would need for a VR headset, for a headset that was that close to your face in order to stop motion sickness. The new Quest 2 will be on the XR2 chipset. This is the Snapdragon processor the brand new one that's specifically designed for VR and AR. Snapdragon powers a lot of like mobile tech, especially like Android stuff. So they've definitely got a lot of history of making good processors.
Do you know
will
what
have
the GPU is?
No. It'll have hand
Okay.
tracking from the start. I think XR2 chipsets have integrated GPU, maybe, but don't quote me on that.
Yeah, but phones have dedicated GPU chips as well, though, so it never gets mentioned, though.
Yeah, I don't know, honestly.
I'll try and look for it.
Hand tracking from the start. So the Quest 1 had it added later on, but there's hand tracking from the get-go with the Quest 2. So now we come, this ships October 13th, and now we come to the caveats. The IPD slider has been changed from the Quest 1. So in the Quest 1, you could make fine adjustments with a slider. So this is your interpupillary diameter or distance is what your IPD is, right? And this changes how you view the VR content, how close the lenses are to your face in order to get a distance that's comfortable for your eyes and is not blurry. And this is really important to do with motion sickness and how well you can see what's in front of your face. So the original IPD slider for the Quest 1 had a slider with fine adjustments. Now you have a physically shift the goggles themselves over 3 preset distances, and these are the most common IPDs. So 58mm, 63mm, and 68mm. So it's 3 common presets rather than fine-tuned IPD controls in the Quest 1. So it seems like what they're doing here is they're trying to make it a more of a streamlined mainstream product, where the Quest 1 had precise controls, whereas the Quest 2 is more of a Facebook VR headset where it's like you buy it and then you have a couple of presets.
That's fine. But I'm gonna say what I always say to these things: fine, have that, but why can't you have like an advanced mode?
Well, they'd have to physically change the headset,
I guess.
So I've seen some people complaining against the fabric strap that they're using now, saying it wasn't as good. And it seems like the Quest 2 is going to be Oculus's flagship headset now for inside-out tracking and PC tracking, because they are discontinuing the Rift S. Because the Quest 2 can also connect to a PC. So the Quest 1, you can connect to a PC via a Oculus Link cable or a 3.0 cable. So you would need a high-speed USB 3.0 cable to include it. The first Quest we talked about in the podcast before, they did a patch to allow you to use a USB 2.0 cable to connect your Quest to your PC, but they obviously said the performance and the latency was really bad through the 2.0, or wasn't as good as the 3.0. So they said that.
Makes sense.
So it seems like Oculus is quitting making PC-only headsets. At this point, they want to make a combination of mobile and PC-tethered play, rather than being a solely PC-tethered hardware.
Yeah.
Sorry, what'd you say? You think that's like a cool move? Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's like the best of both worlds in a way.
Yeah, I think like
inefficiencies.
The Index has cemented themselves as the de facto, the most powerful PC VR headset.
So you can't compete with that.
And then the Oculus is the mobile VR headset that's very easy to use and is now more on the budget side sort of thing.
So, but yeah, kind of the chip, the GPU side, it is integrated with.
Yeah, I'm fairly sure like most phones have and like VR headsets have integrated graphics on the CPU.
Yeah, apparently it's actually pretty decent for like a mobile GPU compared to the previous stuff. So pretty cool.
Well, I've seen like most modern mobile CPUs can run like high refresh Fortnite, so I assume like VR games will be able to run on like an even better.
A lot of flagship phones have like another GPU as well, though. I think I might be mistaken on that.
Sorry, what did you say?
I think a lot of like flagship mobiles have like an
dedicated
actual
GPU.
dedicated.
I don't know if that's true, but I'd have to look into
No,
that.
I'm not sure.
So as well as this, they are discontinuing the Oculus Netflix device. The Oculus Go is being discontinued as well. So the low end. So this was the low end device. This was like £150, I think, or like £100 or something. So the Oculus Quest is going to be the budget headset, but also the high end PC headset at the same time. Seems like they're cutting their entire range, and they're like, "Here's the Quest 2. This is our one headset now." So they're completely like, yeah, they're just completely cutting their whole line of headsets.
So okay, I think I'm understanding what's going on here. They're basically like soldering a GPU and CPU next to each other.
Okay.
So they are separate, but they're also technically the same.
Right.
So they are like two separate chips, but they're not. They're also in the same package though, and they get cooled by the same cooler.
I'll tell you what, I don't know enough about integrated graphics versus graphics put next to a CPU to argue with you there.
So it's like, it seems that phones aren't integrated graphics, but they are integrated on next to the chip.
We're on 1 hour 20 and I haven't even... Okay, we've got to move on. Ubisoft is making 2 brand new AAA franchises to the Oculus platform made for VR entry. So Assassin's Creed and Splinter Cell are getting a VR game, because fuck all the Splinter Cell fans. We're making a VR game only now. We're not... People have wanted a Splinter Cell game for years, like a new one, and they've been like, hey, we're adding the Splinter Cell character to Rainbow Six Siege, which pissed fans off. And they're like, hey, we're making a VR-only game of Splinter Cell. And it's like, yeah, it feels bad, man, to be a Splinter Cell fan right now. Also, multiplayer is coming to Beat Saber. This is massive, right? October 13th, the same day as the Quest 2 launch, multiplayer will be able to be played through Beat Saber. So this is launching for Oculus, Steam VR, and PSVR. I believe.
Is this competitive?
Sorry.
Is this competitive multiplayer?
Yeah, I guess like you both play the same track at the same time and you match the scores, I guess. Or maybe you could even do co-op.
Points combined?
Imagine people made like co-op Beat Saber maps where you got half the notes and the other person got the other half of the notes. Maybe it would be kind of interesting. Okay, Andy's trying to piss me off. We need ranked Beat Saber. Okay, dude.
I was gonna troll you myself, but if Andy's being me to it, fair enough.
Yeah, I think ranked Beat Saber will be where the game really pops off. Okay.
Oh god.
So launch from Oculus, Steam VR, PSVR. I believe PSVR is going to be slightly delayed. It won't be launching with Steam and Oculus crossplay support either. So if your friend has a Quest and you have an Index, you won't be able to crossplay with each other on launch. Whether they add that in the future, that's still up to grabs. Also, they're making a BTS music pack, which is apparently the most popular Korean K-pop band in the world. So there's that. Medal of Honor VR Steam won't require a Facebook account. Other Rift title exclusives may. So that was going back to the Quest 2. The big caveat for why you don't want to get a Quest 2 is you require a Facebook account to log into it, and they've also put down in writing that Facebook account that make dummy accounts can be they will try and shut down people who make like dummy Facebook accounts instead of using their real Facebook account, which is kind of interesting.
Why do they fucking care? I don't understand. Like, okay, I know why they care, but why?
Because they want your data and they want to know.
I know.
Mark Zuck the Suck wants to watch you in VR and go,
I feel like
sweet baby
you can't legally shut down someone for using the wrong name when it's not like it's not like a driving license where like you need to put your actual name down.
Okay,
like, you're not pretend to be someone else. That's a lot of bollocks.
I honestly don't know if I'd recommend the Quest 2. It's like a really
the hardware's really cool.
The hardware's really good. The package is really good. It's cheaper.
Zuck,
But then on the other hand,
There's the Zug.
they fucked the IPD slider. They
Yeah.
they require you to like have a surveillance state on your fucking VR headset. You're always recording people, like and they're always recording and then storing it locally and not sending it back to the mothership Facebook. So I don't know, dude.
Starship Enterprise, I think.
Yeah, I think like obviously there's some products I could immediately recommend and there's some products I can immediately say don't get this, but I would say like case by case basis, the Oculus Quest is going to depend what's important to you. If the IPD slider's like whatever, and you're like, I've got a Facebook account, I don't mind, Oculus Quest is an amazing product. If you're somebody that's more worried about like, you know, having to have your Facebook account linked to it and having to always be recording people and like the amount of data Facebook is going to be getting from you, then maybe you want to look into like a HB Reverb or the new Vive or the Index if you're willing to put, you know, you're willing to put the money into the most powerful VR headset out there.
Yeah.
Nvidia acquired ARM for 40 billion. I said this on the podcast. I said there was rumors that Nvidia was going to buy ARM, the chip maker, and it turns out they did. I talked about this on podcast 116 about them being in advanced talks. I talked about how Apple is moving all of its chips to ARM. I said, so here was my kind of maybe misunderstanding of how Apple and ARM work on their deal. So Apple develops their own silicon based off ARM via an ARM architectural license. So I thought ARM made the chips and Apple took the chips and went, thank you, Mr. ARM, I'm going to use this chip in my phone. No, they buy a license to use the design architecture from ARM and then they develop their own chips from the architecture. All Apple devices use some form of ARM. Again, all of them developed by Apple from the architecture. That's kind of how it works. I mean, it's getting kind of complicated, like, for my understanding at least of how this stuff works.
That's ARM's entire business model at this point.
Yeah, they sell licenses to their chips.
Yeah, and someone else then makes them for them.
So,
or makes their own version.
Since this 40 billion acquisition, Nvidia has claimed that they will maintain ARM's licensing model, so they will continue to license the chip, the architectural out to people like Apple. As reported,
did Ukraine say not to?
Yeah, as reported before, Nvidia open sourced part of its NP SDK to aid Windows environment emulation environments. And I said before, hey, if isn't Apple moving all of their stuff to only go on ARM stuff? Wouldn't it it was cool that Nvidia was open sourcing their emulation environments for Linux, but I was also like, couldn't you do the same thing for Mac OS? Wouldn't that be interesting to see? And the big question on everybody's mind is, will Nvidia try to make ARM an x86 CPU? So ARM doesn't make Ryzen's. They don't make Intel i5s, i7. So what you understand as the AMD Ryzen CPU or the i7, i5 gaming desktop CPUs are called x86 CPUs, and these are your gaming and general use CPUs. ARM doesn't make these.
There's programs that it's like I don't know enough about to like completely explain it. It's like instruction set in a way. It's like you need the CPU to like have the architecture to do this. So there are programs that require x86 to be able to run efficiently. Otherwise, you have to emulate it, which is super inefficient.
But ARM has never made x86 chips.
No.
But do you think that Nvidia will make the move to making an ARM86 chip to go along with their GPU line?
I think they're going to have to.
You think so? Because
you don't understand, but Intel is working on a similar system to ARM, where they want to have super performance cores. They're they're really, really efficient. But they can't do very much, and then they're trying to make them really powerful. I guess efficient cores and performance cores. I guess.
Yeah.
That actually then can run the heavy stuff. Now, I don't think it's splitting it up between x86 and non-x86. I think ARM will always have the efficiency side there because they don't have to run that. But if they ever solve the problem of like turning on and off x86 instructions, then I feel like Intel's going to have a big lead.
This is speculation, right? But we could be in a world where we have Nvidia GPU CPUs. We know Intel makes CPUs, and we know they said they're making GPUs. And AMD is making CPUs and GPUs. So we could be in a world of like Nvidia, Nvidia, AMD, and Intel GPUs and CPUs all competing against each other. Like we could be in that world.
That's actually really good. Like if they actually make products that are decent and like actually compete with each other, that'd actually like drive down the price as well.
From everything I understand and I've heard, ARM's main business is not 86. They haven't made an 86 CPU.
No.
And they've been trying to get into the data center kind of business. That's kind of more where they want to push their brand to, it seems like. But this is speculation and from my limited understanding of how ARM's architecture works.
Qualcomm doesn't use ARM, does it? It uses their own stuff.
I'm not sure.
I swear there's someone that uses ARM and it's like in more stuff than you think.
Maybe. Qualcomm makes the Snapdragon, the mobile processors, right? Like
yeah, but
the VR headsets and the mobile phone ones.
Is that their own?
Are you asking if they have an ARM license or something?
No, I think it's no. I'm wondering if but it looks like it's completely their own stuff. They're completely separate. Okay. Yeah, because like Qualcomm stuff basically is like in all mobile devices at this point. Like no one really uses anything else. What?
Have a look.
But every Apple
I think
device,
maybe I think Qualcomm might use an architecture license at some point.
I can't.
I'm looking at a post from 2016 that says that they use the architecture license, but not the core license, which is where they have the actual design code for the core of the ARM processor. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think we'll figure it out in the next couple minutes. So I'm gonna move on. We got a new game ready driver. So for the 3080, if you're one of the few people on Earth who has a 3080, this driver's for you. They're sold out everywhere.
Update: it uses the RISC architecture. It has some sort of
the board game where you move around units. Yeah, I know.
No, with a C.
Oh, okay. So the new Nvidia drivers, it's cool because not only the 3080 stuff, but it adds support for Fortnite RTX. Poggers in the chat. Nvidia Reflex, the low latency mode that Nvidia's been pushing, which is really cool for like competitive games, for like Apex and stuff like that, trigger games. And then also the new Nvidia broadcast software that they showed off at their keynote, where you can like blur the stuff behind you and like using artificial intelligence.
That's
which is pretty cool. Yeah. So
that all of those, you can like change the whole background as well with that, can't you?
Yeah, it's similar to the Zoom one, I think.
Yeah,
I've used the Zoom one, and that one's pretty cool. So
okay,
interesting to see how it's done with more powerful hardware, sort of thing.
Yeah. I thought it looked way more accurate on Nvidia's side.
It seems like Nvidia's transitioning SLI support from graphic drivers to game devs. So they're going to. They said that they no longer are going to maintain and test SLI driver profiles, and they're saying that it's on developers now, and it's been on developers to add SLI natively inside their games for years. So
the 3080 can't be SLI'd, so
true.
The 3090 can, but nothing else can. So it's dead. It's completely gone.
Gigabyte has confirmed GTX RTX a 3068 gigabyte, a RTX 3070 16 gigabyte coming, and an RTX 3080 with a big chungus 20 gigabytes.
Why has he got so much RAM or GRAM? I thought like the base 30 only has 10 gigabytes.
Yeah, it's like the 3090 is the big chungus with the 3090.
No, it's 24 gigabytes.
It has 24, yeah.
That's similar
but
to the Titan.
when Big Navi comes out and they go, hey, here's our budget CPU, everyone's going to be stacking it up against this new 3060
Oh yeah, for
and
sure.
see how that plays out. So that's going to be really interesting to see.
They're coming out similar times, right? Or announced them. Or one's coming out.
I think the new graphics cards we'll know about next month.
Yeah.
And the Ryzen stuff as well.
But isn't the 3060 coming out at the end of next month?
We don't have any official documentation on when the 3060 is coming out.
That's just rumor then, is it?
These are just unreleased cards that have been listed through Gigabyte.
Yeah.
They're unannounced. They've not been announced by Nvidia, but they're on Gigabyte's Watch Dogs Legion code redeeming website. They have many graphical cards that have yet to be announced by the manufacturer. So it seems like Gigabyte has access to these cards, but nobody else does at the moment. They're unannounced.
Well, if they're releasing it soon, you'd hope they do.
No. Well, I think like a lot of these are going to undercut their current cards they're releasing, so they're definitely not going to announce these until like tons of people have at least tried to purchase the 3080.
Yeah, that's Nvidia's plan. Like you do the top end first.
We'll go Microsoft news, and then we'll move on to PS5, and then we'll end the show. Microsoft bought Zenimax. I couldn't believe this. I was like, I saw this news, and I was like, what the fuck is happening? If you don't know, Zenimax owns Bethesda. So
yes.
Microsoft now owns Bethesda.
Yeah,
that's insane. So
you know what it was, Joe? It was Fallout 76.
Yeah, Microsoft saw Fallout 76 and they said, "Listen, guys, I have to have this on Game Pass." What a game! Because speaking of games, Doom Eternal. It's now on Game Pass thanks to this acquisition. So they purchased Bethesda or Zenimax, the parent company, for $7.5 billion. That's 3 times as much as they paid for Minecraft. They paid $2.5 billion for Minecraft, but with Minecraft, you only got one game.
Well, yeah, there's way more licenses underneath Zenimax. Wait, they own ESO now then?
Yeah.
That's
Microsoft
crazy.
now owns Elder Scrolls Online.
They own Fallout 76 and ESO. What the hell?
Now, one thing that was immediately pointed out was Microsoft purchased Obsidian, and Obsidian made the good Bethesda games. Now,
that's true.
Can we now get Obsidian to make Fallout New Vegas 2? The cards are on the table.
And Skyrim 6.
Coming to Xbox Game Pass. New Vegas 2, baby.
And Elder Scrolls 6, please. That'd be great.
Obsidian's already making like a new avowed like Skyrim game anyway.
Yeah, they're making a medieval fantasy game, yeah.
So, isn't the Arcane-made, Bethesda-published Deathloop a timed exclusive for PS5? I'm so glad you asked, Tony. Yes, it is. So,
yeah.
Xbox it plans to honor the PS5 exclusivity commitment for Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo. So you're going to be playing your console exclusive Deathloop on the PS5, and it's going to pop up and go Xbox game made by Xbox Game Studios, and that's going to be really fucking weird to see.
Yeah.
One thing I haven't seen anyone talking about with Xbox buying Zenimax, Zenimax owns Orion. If you don't remember, Orion was Bethesda's game streaming tech. And this is huge because Microsoft is making a big push for xCloud, the Xbox game streaming service. So they can now take this Bethesda Orion game streaming tech for the cloud streaming SDK and incorporate it into Game Pass. I think people looked at the Zenimax acquisition and immediately went, oh, they're buying Skyrim and they're buying Bethesda, and people completely forgot about the fact that Microsoft is heavily investing in game streaming, and Orion could be a huge reason as to why Bethesda even invested in Zenimax in the first place. So that's super interesting. The Xbox Series X hard drives are now out for pre-order. These are the Gen 4.0 SSDs. So if you want another hard drive, if you want more space for your Xbox Series S or X, you can now purchase them for £220.
Wait, how big are these?
1 terabyte.
Oh, okay, these are pretty.
But these are the
pretty
super fast
priced,
proprietary SSDs that they've made specifically for the Xbox Series X and S.
Yeah, but these are pretty on par with like the same sort of stuff on PC right now. So
I believe you can just use an external SSD as well for more space, but it won't be as fast as the internal one. And then I think you're also limited to only having the Xbox X, Xbox S enhancements for previous generation games if it's stored on the internal SSD. I don't know why that's the case, but that is the case.
Is that because the enhancements are using stream textures or something other?
Yeah, I believe that's what they said.
Right.
Actually, thinking about it. Yeah.
You can't do it for the USB 3 port at that point.
And hold up, wait a minute. Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella says...
Satan?
No. SATA. I'm saying it like SATA, like a SATA drive. I believe that's how you say his name anyway. He says, we're not done buying game studios yet. Hold your popcorn. There's more coming. So the rumors I've heard is Microsoft wants to buy Sega. That's a big rumor. I'm not sure about the validity of that one. I've heard rumors about them wanting to outright buy EA. And of course that would make sense because they've just done the big deal with Games Pass now includes EA Access. And that would make...
EA is massive.
Yeah, but they're nowhere near as big as Microsoft.
Yeah, but I think they're so massive that it's not worth the pricing for Microsoft.
I don't know. Like, how big is EA's market cap? That would be interesting to see.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, how much is the company worth compared to Bethesda?
Well, how much do they make yearly, I guess? Because you can ask for like way more money if you make a lot of money.
Let me try and look it up. It's so hard to like try and figure out how much a company is worth. Because then I click on something, it's like it shows me like graphs of stock prices, and I'm like, what the fuck does this even mean? I don't understand stocks at all. Okay, I don't know, but I don't think you have to keep in mind Microsoft is $1 trillion company. So there is honestly no other company on earth that isn't Microsoft level that is too big for Microsoft to purchase. EA is nowhere near trillion. I can say that for sure.
That's fine. It's okay, but it's more. It's like having you have like a really big truck, but you still don't want to pick up everything you see because you still have like you still have to put fuel into it.
That's probably the compromise.
As a company, it's way more about profits.
That's probably the compromise where they had Game Pass with access because they wanted to make the deal with EA, but then they didn't go ahead and purchase the entire company. Whether that's still on the table, I don't know.
The problem with like big companies like EA is like if it's even like viable for them, they want to sell like super high because they
I've heard a rumor they wanted to buy some Japanese studio and revive those games, but I've never heard of the Japanese studio of the game, so I didn't bother writing it down because it's a weird rumor and I wouldn't know where to start on it. So anyway, let's move on to PS5 news so we can finish the podcast before the 2-hour mark. We got
2-hour speedrun.
We've got the official pricing on the PS5. It is coming out November 12th for everyone in the world, and then November 19th for fuck you UK and the rest of the world. It's £450 for the PS5, and it's £359 for the digital-only edition. So that's a £100 Blu-ray disc drive we've got on our hands. So they're taking the loss here for the digital-only edition because, of course, with the digital-only edition, you won't be able to buy cheap second-hand games. You will only be able to purchase the game through their digital online store.
It'd be exactly like Steam, so like be locked to your account.
So they're going to take the initial loss on the console in order to get the bigger gains from fucking over the pre-owned market because, I mean, like GameStop and stuff and video game console developers have been at war on the pre-owned market for years.
I don't, but aren't they also equally trying to increase? So we're going more digital with our game copies. They want to increase the price to what, $70, $65 or
Yeah,
something.
so I think $60 games are now being bumped up to $70 games for consoles.
Yeah,
They've said to like all
why?
the game developers that it's a new generation, we can charge more. I think the only one that disagreed with them is refusing to increase their price is CJ Project Red is refusing to increase
Yeah.
their price on I was going to say The Witcher 3 on Cyberpunk 2077. So that's where that backlash is coming out.
Wait, isn't there going to be a Witcher 3 enhanced version at some point?
Yeah, with ray tracing, which is really
Yeah.
cool. So it's coming out November 12th in the US, Japan, Mexico, Australia, and New Zealand and South Korea, but November 19th in the UK and the rest of the world. Maybe that's a COVID thing. I don't know, but that doesn't make sense because there's no release date for China at the moment, and I have no idea.
Joe, the thing is, you have to understand the US, Japan, Mexico, Australia, New Zealand, and South Korea are the first world, and the UK and the rest of the world are third
that's
world
true, yeah.
countries, so.
So the PS5 launch date for China is still being announced, and that's interesting because consoles are not very popular in China. I talked about this on the podcast before. Because of a console ban that was lifted in 2015, the Chinese market is heavily dominated by the mobile and PC market. So it'll be interesting to see how the PS5 does in China. Let's move on to the trailers that we got from our PlayStation conference, and then we can end the podcast. Hogwarts Legacy.
Speed run.
Sorry?
Is this a speed run or is this just a normal run?
I'm just going to watch the trailer and say when I want to talk about it.
Yeah.
So, I feel like people have wanted this game for years. Me as well. I've wanted a Hogwarts RPG for a long time. Like a full Hogwarts RPG I thought would be really cool.
Has this been made by... This is Avalanche.
Avalanche. Mad Max Fury Road.
And Just Cause.
And Rage 2.
Yeah, and Just Cause.
Yeah. But I think like their most popular project for like showing how they can do like a cool open world was Mad Max sort of thing. But yeah. So this is a Harry Potter RPG, Hogwarts RPG. It's listed as an action RPG, but I don't think it's not an ARPG. It's a Hogwarts RPG set in the 18,000s, and J.K. Rowling doesn't exist. There's never been anyone called J.K. Rowling. She doesn't exist. This is a Harry Potter game, and she's got nothing on. Okay, basically, J.K. Rowling has nothing to do with this game. So that's all we need to say about it. No, she sold the video game rights.
Did she sell the video game rights? I feel like she still owns the actual Hogwarts rights.
No, I don't think so. Like we've seen this in the past. Like The Witcher 3, famously, the author sold the rights to the video games to CJ Project Red because he thought he wouldn't make any money, and then he later sued them because he was like, "I got a terrible deal. I didn't think this was going to make any money."
Yeah.
But I'm fairly sure if J.K. Rowling had nothing to do with this game, it would make sense that she doesn't have the rights. Like Warner Brothers has the rights to the films, and I believe this is Warner Brother Games making the game as well. So it seems like Warner Brothers has the rights for the movies and the games.
Warner Brothers doesn't have exclusive rights. J.K. Rowling still has some she still gets royalties from it to some extent.
From the games and the movies, or
from the movies.
What about the games, though?
I don't know about the games. I don't know what the I'm trying to figure out if there's a difference. It's so complicated, like because like they don't have to like disclose this.
But we know for sure that J.K. Rowling's had nothing to do with this game. So this is a kind of post J.K. Rowling Harry Potter game, I would say, even though it's set in the past.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to go on with the lore, whether they will stick to the expanded universe or the books, or they will make up some shit. I don't know. We'll have to see, but I think like one of the cool ideas. People are like, man, I want a cool open world Pokemon RPG, or I want
So
a Harry Potter open world RPG would be like a really cool concept. And this is what I wanted to play for a
according
long time.
to The Verge quoting Polygon,
Yeah.
J.K. Rowling will almost certainly make money from the sales of the new game.
Yeah, I think she might get royalties, but I don't think she has
Yeah.
any say over anything.
Oh no, that's fine. But I'm still concerned that she's still making money from other people making products.
This looks cool. I'll have to see like more about this like gameplay and stuff, but the concept is cool. We got a teaser for God of War. I can sing the music because I've got to read it. Oh, it's just like the Nordic chanting music.
Yeah.
This was the ultimate flex from Sony here. Yeah. I haven't played the new God of War on the PS4.
Wait, we didn't get we got font styling in like.
Yeah, this is all we got. It's a teaser trailer.
Right, that's it.
It's just them saying, "Hey, we're making another God of War game for the PS5."
Right. Elder Scrolls 6 gave me a Vista as its teaser trailer.
Oh, that was shit. I hated that one.
Well, it gave me some text.
Yeah. But yeah, we know that the next God of War game is called Ragnarok. It'll be on the PS5. It's just a good confirmation that they're making another God of War game based off the success of the PS4 one. That'll be cool to see. I'm a fan of God of War, the PS3, the PS2 games, the PSP games, but I've never played the PS4 game, so hopefully it's a game I can enjoy and play at some point, depending on whether Sony decides to start putting their games on PC and not in the state that Horizon Zero Dawn came out.
Yeah.
Tony, do you want to talk about Final Fantasy? I put this trailer on here. There's a new
I've
Final
watched
Fantasy
it.
game, Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to say about it. Like, it's a medieval Final Fantasy game.
Yeah.
I guess.
So they've said this is Sword and Shield.
This
is Sword and Shield fantasy Final Fantasy game. So we're not going to have guns and stuff.
I wasn't interested until somebody died and became like a weird Phoenix man.
What?
Yeah, don't ask.
This is a Squeenix story, so none of it's going to make sense.
There was a massive Titan thing attacking at some point as well. I have no idea what's going on there. I don't know. I'm when I first saw it, I wasn't that interested.
Tony, I put this on the list because I was like, this is some Japanese shit. Tony will enjoy this. It's a new Final Fantasy game, yeah.
I really like Final Fantasy 15.
I honestly don't care much for like Japanese games at all, other than Nintendo, I would say. So
yeah, that's fair. I quite like a lot of Japanese games, so I quite like the style they have for a lot of stuff.
Some guy called Yoshi P is working on it, whatever that means.
Some guy called.
Honestly, I can't tell you because I think he's like it. I think he works on the MMO, and people are like, "Oh, this is huge! I love this guy and the work he does."
Hang on, hang on.
If it's what he does, I don't know whether this changes things.
I think so. Final Fantasy 14 was a piece of shit when it launched, and they remade it. I think he might have been.
There's a guy called Yoshi.
Person in charge of remaking
I'm imagining a green lizard working on it.
He's called Yoshida.
Yoshi P. That's his his nickname is Yoshi P. Like in the community.
I don't know how you pronounce
He's named after the Nintendo character Tony. Yoshida. He was born and they said, "Hey, there's going to be a green lizard in Nintendo in a couple of years. We've got to make sure to name you after this so you can get on in the market."
Naki Yoshida, also known as Yoshi P.
Because it wasn't like Mario's like famously named after like the landlord of where Nintendo US was working or something.
What?
Yeah, that's like a real story. PlayStation Plus Collection is coming. This is huge because the best PS4 games are coming to PlayStation 5 PS Plus. This looks like PlayStation's answer to Game Pass. Competition is a good thing. PlayStation is being forced to make their own rival subscription service, so this will be, I guess, just part of your normal PlayStation Plus subscription, which you need to play online and was giving people free games. But this will also give you access to the biggest hits of the PlayStation 4 kind of, I guess we'll have the kind of the Xbox enhancements sort of thing with the PS5 enhancements. This will be, so the big ones are God of War, Bloodborne, Final Fantasy, Ratchet and Clank, Uncharted 4: A Thief's End, Until Dawn, The Last Guardian, The Last of Us Remastered. So yeah, there's a whole list of games, but I picked out some of the more interesting ones that were kind of PS4 exclusives. But that's really cool to see like a competitor to Games Pass and see how that turns out. What are you
I
gonna
can
say?
believe the Last Guardian existed. Jesus Christ.
That was like the new game from
Shadow of the Colossus people.
Shadow of the Colossus people, yeah. What are they call Ico Entertainment? Something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
We got a new trailer for Resident Evil Village. The second trailer. It looks like somebody took the look of 7 and then mixed it with with 4. If you know what I'm saying there, I'm saying it looks like Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, but it looks like the atmosphere is like Resident Evil 4, like the village atmosphere. Obviously, it's called Resident Evil 8 Village, as we call it.
Yeah. It's got 8 in this name. It's hidden.
It looks more like Biohazard number 7 than it looks like Resident Evil 4 to me.
It's first person, right? It's confirmed.
Yeah, it seems like first person. I don't know if it's confirmed, but it looks like there's a merchant at the end of the trailer. It shows off like an Asian-looking dude who's like, looks like a merchant. So people are like, oh, it's going to be like Resident Evil 4, where you can purchase shit. So that'll be interesting. We got a new gameplay demo for Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales. So this is the new Spider-Man game. If you want you can pay $20 extra to get Spider-Man Remastered in the bundle. So you can, if you want to play Spider-Man, I think it's just called Marvel Spider-Man, right? On the PS4.
Yeah, I think so.
The Insomniac game. If you want to play them both on PS5, you can buy it in a bundle to get this game and the Spider-Man game remastered on the PS5. You won't get the remastered game for free if you already own it on PS4, I believe. So you will have to spend £20 to get it on the PS5. Demon Souls, we got our first look at some Demon Souls. Pretty cool.
That's pretty good.
Yep.
It's really cool.
One of the big thing with Demon Souls was that it had coming to PC in the trailer. People were like, "Oh my god, Demon Souls Remastered coming to PC," and then Sony took it down. They completely removed the coming to PC from the trailer, so there was some controversy there where people thought this game was coming to PC, and now it's not. But what difference does it make in the end, really? Like people are like, "Oh, I thought it was coming to PC, but now it's not." So, I mean, what difference does that really make in the end?
Yeah, I guess it's a disappointment sort of thing if you were hyped to have coming to PC.
So they've said that it's a PlayStation exclusive, and they've said it isn't coming to PC and other consoles. They've confirmed that. We got a new trailer for Deathloop, the Xbox-owned PS5 exclusive. This news is way more interesting now that the Bethesda acquisition's gone through. I know that you personally aren't that impressed with the Deathloop stuff. I love Arcane. No. I love how this game looks.
Yeah, Arcane are pretty decent developers. So.
Like I love the idea of an assassination game stuck in a time loop is really interesting.
I will say from this as well, the combat kind of looks fun as well. So I will say that.
I like it. You should go and watch this trailer on your own, but it kind of goes more in depth into how Deathloop works, where you only have a set amount of time to kill 7 targets, and how you interact with the game changes how your targets move. So in this trailer, they showed how your target that you kill here makes a scientific discovery, and because he made that scientific discovery, he doesn't go to a party. But what you can do is you can go here earlier in time, and you can stop him from making the discovery, and then he gets upset, and then he goes to the party, and then you can kill 2 targets at once. So it's about optimizing your time in a time loop by playing it over and over again until you get the perfect run, which really reminds me of a game called The Outer Wilds, where you're stuck in a time loop. I don't
understand the assassin part. That's what really.
That's the Dishonored part.
That just to force the time loop.
I think the idea is there's a bunch of rich guys who like killing people, and you've been trapped in here as an assassin, and your only way to escape and get your freedom is by killing these targets in one successful loop. Is the idea. So.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, somebody pointed out with Deathloop, Arcane has pretty much embraced the Dishonored 2 strategy of spam quick save and quick load every time something goes wrong, and made it canon, which I thought was a really funny comment. How that's kind of how I play Dishonored 2, is like quick save, quick load spam when I want to like make sure I have like the perfect run through a level, especially when you're doing the ghost and non-lethal achievements. So I thought that was a really good way to put it, where people are already kind of doing this, where they're playing through like a Dishonored game in a kind of time loop where they're trying to get the perfect run, but now they've kind of embraced it into its own game. So I'm really hyped for Deathloop. This is one of my most hyped games coming out, I think. So I'm definitely interested to see how this turns out. Devil May Cry PS5 edition was announced to be getting enhancements, but not for PC. So it's having some like ray tracing performance, and they were saying it was specifically designed for the PS5 ray tracing. We can't possibly put this on the PC version because there's no way.
Use software ray tracing on PC. No, that's not a thing.
The PS5 has hardware ray tracing, so I don't actually know. They might be using.
Yeah, I'm just saying, just using software implementation if you really need it to. But
So they announced that Virgil will be a playable character, as well as legendary Dark Knight mode, which lots of enemies coming at you once. Turbo mode, 20% gameplay speed increase, and ray tracing support. But the only thing that's coming to PC will be Virgil as a DLC, I believe. So Virgil will be sold as a DLC on the PC platform, but the other enhancements, such as the ray tracing, the turbo mode, and the legendary Dark Knight mode, will not be coming to PC, and there's no plans to add this whatsoever. And as a result, Devil May Cry 5 on PC has been Steam review bombed. So
for some reason,
Well, I know you're someone who's played and owns Devil May Cry 5 on the PC. So how do you feel about this?
Fun. I mean, it's a really good looking game. I think ray tracing could really help it out. Keep it this longevity, I guess, but or just a bit. I don't know. More selfishly, just makes it look really cool. I really like the look of it. So and it's like a lot of dark, dingy, like rainy days sometimes as well. It's like you could really make that look really good.
I think it would be really cool to see this on PC, especially with the more performance overhead you get from the PC hardware.
I think I actually care more about getting Vigil. So
is it Vigil or Virgil? I was saying Virgil.
I just looked and I've already forgotten.
Okay. Anyway,
I can't. I think it's Vigil. Hang on, if I just put DMC, it's Virgil. Okay.
Because the new Devil May Cry Special Edition also runs at 120 frames as well, which is interesting to see as well.
Yeah, I think for me it was when I played it was like super CPU bound, like my GPU wasn't being maxed out at all. This was on my 2080. I was barely getting 60 on. Okay, to be fair, I pumped everything to max, so that's kind of my own fault.
But interesting to see that they're claims it's going to run at 120 frames when it's also going to have ray tracing on as well.
That's crazy to me.
That's going to be interesting to see. One final piece of news before we wrap up the podcast. Sony made it official the PlayStation 5 won't natively support PS1, PS2, or PS3 emulation. If you want to emulate those consoles, you have to have a big chungus. The fat PS3 is the only console that can natively do the backwards compatible PS1, PS2 support.
I wish I did. Oh wait, hang on a minute. Oh my god, I still I've still got my big chungus, Joe.
You've still got the fat PS3.
I've still got a big. It's broken, but I still got it.
Okay, so this goes into question. Sony currently has a store with PS1, PSP, and PS Vita games on it, and there is no current console that can access it. The PS4 and the PS5 can't play PS1 games or PSP or PS Vita games. So what is this store for? Like, they have these games you can access, you can't play them on any current hardware. It seems kind of silly.
Is it actually complete? Like, is the store like feature complete, or like is it like working as intended? Is it not? Maybe it's not working correctly yet.
What do you mean?
Well, maybe they're planning to release it later. I don't know. Maybe
backwards compatibility? I don't think so. Or
I don't know, but maybe like the PS5 Pro will have it, or maybe I don't know.
It seems like from PS5, all they're committing to is we're going to support PS4 games, and that's it. Nothing existed before this point.
Yeah.
They're making the cutoff there.
I feel like they're missing a trick.
The thing is, the PS2 could emulate PS1 games because the PS2 was essentially just the PS1 with some upgraded power to it. So that's why the PS2 could natively support PS1 games.
And the big fat PS3 is the best PS.
The best PS3, it can do everything.
Yeah.
The big chungus.
Yeah.
But they're really hard to find now because they're so rare and popular for emulating the older.
Yeah, and they have to be refurbished because I think almost all of them
crashed.
Broke.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the hard drive completely broke.
I gotta go, so we'll move on to Pete Molydeux tweet and we'll end the podcast. So let's read this out. Game devs can be so cruel. Here we are all desperately trying to make games similar to Fall Guys within a few months, yet Mediatonic was given years to do it. We simply can't compete. It's not fair. Like the idea that everyone's making Fall Guy clones and that Mediatonic had all these years to make Fall Guys. It's not fair they had that much time over everybody else. That's pretty fun.
They had all this time making an original game. I can't believe it.
All right. And everything in between podcast on YouTube. Type in Peter Molyneux's name. It'll probably come up. Twitch.tv/Scorn if you want to watch live. And you want to hear me scream about Among Us Ranked. And at Scorn 2000 if you want to get updates on when the podcast is going live or when the VOD will be up. That's the end of the podcast. Goodbye.
And don't forget Beat Saber Ranks.
Bye.
Bye.